Hey guys, welcome to our stories, and the first story is about a guy whose ex cheated on him and tried to pin abuse and cheating on him only for it to backfire as the guy with whom she cheated uploaded her cheating with him, and her family find out about it and disowned and cut her off. This happened between me, 25 male, and my ex, 24 female, over the past few months. I will keep it short, but keep all important details. To start, the first month, February, was amazing, like a dream relationship. We had been friends for a while before when she suddenly confessed that I had hidden my feelings as we were meant to only be friends, so I jumped at the opportunity stating my feelings. The second month was not as bad, only having a single argument as she invited her neighbor over to what was supposed to be a date. After talking it out, we sorted it and made up. The third month was when the problem started. We had planned out the date to be on a Saturday as she had worked on our usual Friday times. I understood and changed the day of the restaurant I booked to then. I hadn't told her as I wanted it to be a surprise instead of the usual home movie, but she knew to keep that day clear and to dress well for the date. Only an hour before the date, she texts me saying that she won't be there tonight as she was going to see a movie with a friend. I was honestly furious as I had already paid the pre-booking fee and told her over a week in advance. I tried to call, but her phone was off. I called her best friend and he had no idea what was happening either. The next morning I talked to her and she argues with me saying I should have told her it was a restaurant meal. After about an hour of argument, she finally admitted that she was wrong for what she did. I accepted that and we took a day break to calm and clear any bad feelings. After that, the relationship started to decline. I stayed the same, but she started to get more and more distant. Eventually, after 3 weeks of no intimacy, not even kisses, I confronted her asking what was going on. She says she needs a week to think and wanted to be single for that. I told her I don't mind taking a break if that's what she needs, but I don't see why being single is needed for that. She argued it was for her freedom, and I realized it was for another guy. We broke up and she spread lies about me cheating and being abusive. Thankfully, the friends she spread it to wouldn't believe her as we had all known each other for years, her being introduced to them through me. Her best friend had tried to defend me and she had blocked him, but he knew her friend group. Through them we discovered that she had been cheating the last 3 weeks of the relationship, as well as the friend she went to the movies with being a Tinder hookup, then left me to start dating the new guy. To nobody's surprise, he blocked her after she tried to start dating him. Soon she dropped out of university as the guy had uploaded the videos of her cheating to porn sites and it spread throughout her university. Then I decided I wanted revenge. It wasn't much as I knew her parents and were really close. They knew nothing that was going on and assumed we just broke up. Her parents, though, are super religious, along with her grandmother. So although painful, I found the links to the videos, downloaded them, and took screenshots of all the breakups. Then I contacted her family saying I had something I wanted to share and created a group chat with her parents, grandmother, and ex-best friend. Then I unloaded all screenshots and videos, along with a text message explaining everything that's happened. There was no contact for about a week. Then her ex-best friend filled me in on the situation. She had lost her scholarship due to dropping out of university, and her grandmother, after seeing the proof, cut her from the will and disowned her, followed by her parents and her being evicted from the house as well as support cut off. She now is working a minimum wage job and sharing a home with friends. This next story is from What's Going On 2216. How suspicious would this make you? My wife 50F and I 57M have been married for 4 years now. We met as a sugar daddy / sugar baby and moved quickly to a vanilla relationship. She has always been a little closed off about her time as a sugar baby. She has been adamant that she never cheated in her past relationships, but she has also told me that she never slept with married men as a sugar baby, and I have found ample evidence to refute that statement. This happened a while ago, and I have been wondering what others might think. My wife travels when she works. She only does this a few times a year. So she took a trip about 1,000 miles away from where we live to work an event. While staying there, she told me on a phone call that she was going to dinner with an old friend that had a daughter she knew as well, and they lived in this city and she wanted to catch up. There was no name given or any explanation of how she knew this old friend. The next day she told me when I asked about her dinner with her old friend that it did not happen as he was at his house about 60 miles from where we live. When she told me this, Elle remembered that I knew someone who fit that description. Early on in our relationship, she had left her email open on our computer while she was away, and curiosity got the better of me and I looked through it. There was nothing bad in it, but it did hold a great deal of correspondence from her former time as a SB. There was a folder with a man's name on it, and it was her emails with him when he was her SD. Not a problem for me as all of this was before me, but out of curiosity, I stalked him on Facebook. He had a business that was centered in both towns. The one she was currently in and the one she said her old friend was in that night. He also has a daughter. I believe this former SD was her old friend that she did not identify. My question is, how suspicious would this make you if this happened to you? I also need to add that at this time we were not having sex due to her saying her libido was low, yet she masturbated regularly during this time. I posted last week about my wife having a suspicious dinner date while traveling for work. I really appreciated all the input. But there are several other incidents over our marriage that are the reason I have become so suspicious and have developed so many trust issues with her. I will lay them out here and welcome your thoughts. My wife has maintained since I met her that she has never cheated ever. I myself cheated on my first wife after an extended dead bedroom, and I told my wife about this up front. For the first 3 years of our relationship, I believed her. She was cheated on during an engagement 6 years before I met her, and she told me how devastating it was for her. When we were dating, she told a story about co-owning a business for just a few months before selling it. She and her co-owner had a couple of drinks together in the business, and he made a pass at her that she did not refuse. This led to kissing, rubbing, and clothes loosening. She told me it stopped just short of sex. She was always a little vague about when she owned this business, but I had always assumed it was after her divorce from her first husband and before the guy who cheated on her. I never gave it much thought until I realized she moved in with the guy who cheated on her during her divorce. Then I discovered that the business reopened after she sold it 2 full years before she filed for divorce, so her story had to have taken place before that. That would be cheating in my book. The next incident occurred about 6 months into our marriage. She travels for work and never gave me her flight info. While away on a trip, she told me she would be back in town at a certain time. She sent me a screenshot of her messages to show me something else, but also on it was a text from the airline with her flight number. So on a whim, I looked it up. It came in about 3 hours before she said it would. I asked her that night about why she lied and where she was during that time. She exploded at me, said I was accusing her of cheating, and yelled for over an hour about how if she wanted to have sex with someone else, she would have sex with someone else. She did say she was meeting with a client for work during that time, but then why would she need to lie? Next up was an incident while I was working away and would spend the week working and come home. This day they messed up my hotel reservation and I decided to drive home. It was only a 1.5 hours drive. She texted me about that same time that her best friend had dinner reservations and the other couple had backed out, so her friend invited her and a single guy they both knew to fill in. I will admit this made me feel uncomfortable. He is her type physically and is a well-to-do divorce attorney who has made comments to her about how attractive she is. So I told her that I was on my way home. She began to tell me it was stupid and that I should just find another hotel. I declined, and she became more and more insistent that I stay until I asked her why it was bothering her so much that I was coming home. She then backed off and said she was still going to dinner and would see me later. When she got home, she was stunning. Makeup done, hair done, and in a nice dress. To put this in context, we have gone to this restaurant several times, and she always goes in pigtails, no makeup and leggings, and a hoodie. Next up is last year she traveled for an event she was working on. She told me that it was so hot that she had to sneak off and get 4 fluids one day. She told me she went to a hospital to have this done. At the end of the event, she had me text her boss that she had to have the 4 fluids. When she got home, I unloaded her car for her. One thing I noticed was that there were no discharge papers in the visor. Like clockwork, she always puts her ER discharge papers in the visor. Between this and having me text her boss, my radar was up. Then she started trying to hide who was liking her Facebook posts with an explanation that made no sense. When that failed, all her recent posts disappeared for a week. Her explanation of that was that she had no idea how it happened. With my radar up, I did something I am not proud of. I called all the hospitals in the area asking for a bill. I gave every iteration of her name, and they looked at every day of the event. There was no record of a visit by her. I know her boss is a no-nonsense guy and would not support anything underhanded. I feel the whole 4 fluid story was to cover an absence from the event. One other thing from this story: at the time she was doing Facebook searches of a former lover and his wife. He lives about an hour and a half from the event. So no smoking gun, but a lot to think about. Sorry, this was so long. But I think I just needed to voice my suspicions and get some feedback. What do you think? Subscribe for more stories. I will be posting more stories like this. Till then, you can watch other stories I have uploaded.